ND Western Limited is an independent Nigerian oil and gas exploration and production company made up of 4 shareholders with deep industry insights. They are Niger Delta Petroleum Resources Limited, NDPR, Petrolin Trading Limited, First Exploration and Petroleum Development Limited, and Walter Smith Exploration and Production Limited. Incorporated in 2011, ND Western acquired 45% participating interest in oil mining lease OML 34, which is an unincorporated joint venture with Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, MPDC. We are currently transitioning from a special purpose vehicle to a fully integrated energy company. Our vision is to be a world-class energy company of choice in Africa. Our mission is to create shareholder value by providing clean energy through sustainable and strategic partnerships in communities we operate, while adhering to international health and safety standards and best practices, utilizing innovative technologies, and running efficient, cost-effective operations with a prepared and motivated workforce. We are driven by our core values: health and safety, high performance, honesty and integrity, respect for the individual, and teamwork. At the helm of affairs, we have the pioneer founder and executive vice chairman, Dr. Lai Fatono, the chief executive officer, Mr. Ebere Chukwu Oji, the chief operating officer, OML 34 Asset Management Team, Chief Edinri Abamwa, and the chief financial officer, Asfa Hussein. They bring more than 100 years of combined experience in the energy industry to the fore at ND Western. Their visionary leadership has been pivotal to ND Western weathering the storms over the years and providing the roadmap for future growth.
We have grown over the years to be one of the foremost indigenous oil companies in Nigeria. We're currently in collaboration with MPDC as our joint venture partner. We operate the oil mining lease 34, which is in Warri Delta State, covered quite an extensive area of about 950 square kilometers. So that's quite a big operation that we oversee.
Since ND Western became part of the JV, 2012 to 2016, MPDC operated the asset alone. And the asset in question is OML 34, which comprises 3 oil and gas producing fields. That is Uturugu, Ugele East, and Ugele West. There's a 4th field, but it's currently under mothball, and it's in the swamp. That's Warri River. So in 2016, the AMT was formed to enable ND Western carry out certain technical functions within the operations. And since then, we've achieved remarkable improvement in terms of quality delivery of hydrocarbons, that is oil and gas.
When it comes to our future vision, we're fairly clear, in terms of the direction that we need to head into, which in a way we've already started the journey. It's about a much more sustainable, greener energy transition, and building on our credentials of gas and power, right? So we know that we need to transition. We know that we have to go along that journey, and it's not already a predetermined journey, right? Things will evolve, things will change, technologies, and people will come up with new ideas and new ways of looking at things. So that's something that we need to challenge ourselves, transition, grow, and help our people and the communities that we operate in to continue and to build on the ND Western culture.
At ND Western, we operate at the highest health and safety standards to ensure zero harm to our people and contractors who work in our facilities.
At ND Western, safety is a core value, and it's driven by top management through visible commitment to working the HSE policies of the company. This in turn is cascaded down to the workforce, condensed in our 12 life-saving rules, which help personnel, both staff and contractors, to work safely in our areas of operation. And then we follow it up with a behavioral safety program which encourages and motivates the workforce through a reward system for respectfully intervening in all situations that they observe either an unsafe act or an unsafe condition. And we ensure that this information or this culture is cascaded both on and off the job. So we have a rolling 24-hour safety enthusiasm. So it's not just the workers, but workers cascading safety information, best practices to the home folks. So we have a robust environmental management system plan in place, which we follow through using different tools, audits, inspections, provision of pollution control equipment, carrying out third-party independent consultant reviews of our environmental management plans. And we carry out environmental monitoring activities across our operating sites. This is also not just because of regulatory compliance, but because at ND Western, the environment is dear to us. And we ensure that we deploy resources and our folks, workers, contractors understand that the environment is there to sustain us both now and for the young ones coming after us.
We are committed to sound environmental, social, and governance initiatives and exercise due care to ensure sustainable development in our operational sites. We conduct active health, safety, and environment project awareness campaigns for our staff and for the people in communities which we operate. We empower our staff to stop work on any project if they feel unsafe. We also prioritize building partnerships and participate in industry initiatives targeted at reducing adverse environmental impacts in communities where we operate. ND Western recognizes its human resources as its greatest asset. So, the organization places a high premium on creating an employee-friendly environment. We incorporate work-life balance with the aim of ensuring each person expresses their unique creativity and gives their best to the organization.
So ND Western is blessed to really have very strong people. And the strong people we have all the way from our board to the executive management, to the leadership team that runs our operation, and to the people who work up and down the organization. And if you look at the management team, we've got very solid people in the technical, in engineering, across the board. And I'm really proud of the mix, the solid mix of our leadership team. And we have young talent as well that are part of our people. Our culture promotes creativity, promotes independence of thought. Our culture promotes excellence. We promote teamwork. These are some of our core values as ND Western, and high performance. These come together to form the bedrock of who ND Western is. And with the mix of our people, solid experience, young talents that we are developing, leveraging on technology, we put that together. That is the reputation that ND Western has developed in the industry. Easily one of the recognizable, highly disciplined team, very professional run company. We pride ourselves to be one of the best, and we truly are, both by our business outcome and by the leaps and bounds with which ND Western has grown over the years.
In the year 2020, the executive management commissioned 2 networks created to focus on people development and act as a sounding board for the management. These networks are the Future Leaders Network and the Women's Network.
The Future Leaders Network provides a platform for developing, harnessing, and improving on the uniqueness of every young member of the company. Allows for proper mentoring, proper knowledge sharing between seasoned and upcoming professionals, and it's actually a platform that allows us to be free, contributing to the growth of the company, since the Future Leaders Network was started, we have been able to work on a few projects. The involvement in the Future Leaders Network has improved over time due to the openness of the company management to seeing the young people in the company develop, and it's a boost to everybody's activity in the company.
At the Future Leaders Network, we have different programs that help to identify the high potentials within the organization. With those programs, we focus on different areas that would help support and build skills within the organization. We have the CSR team, the social media team, the technical support and development team. And each of those functions help to identify who is the next leader within the organization. Every month, we have meetings where we have speakers that would come to speak to us about different things within the sphere of life that we are in. We have leaders from international institutions who would focus on leadership skills, and we also have leaders who would help on people development skills.
The Women's Network is tasked to create opportunities that support, enrich, and inspire ND Western women to a competitively advanced professional and personal level.
The ND Western Women Network was initiated to target the diversity requirement of ND Western. So the idea behind it is to give the women a voice. Our focus is to shed a light on the things that affect women in the workplace. So basically we want to develop women who are well-rounded professionally and who are also balanced in their physical and personal lives. And we're divided into 4 cohorts which target the different areas that we seek to represent. We have the individual cohorts that focuses on the woman as an individual. So everything about her well-being, her health, her mental wellness and all of that. Then we have the society cohort that deals with how we impact the community in which we operate. And then we have the network cohort that has to do with how we interrelate among ourselves and with other women in other organizations. And finally, we have the organization cohort, which deals with how we can make input and be a soundboard to the ND Western organization and create a kind of brand recognition for ND Western outside the organization. The way we are organized, we have our different activities month on month that helps us to reach out in all these different areas. We're about 2 years old, and so far we've had a very huge impact on ourselves, among ourselves, on the organization, and across the society. We try to connect, share, synergize, and we bring out the best in each other.
OML 34 has a current oil reserve of 300 million barrels, with a net daily production of 22,000 barrels, continuous drilling campaigns, a combined flow station capacity of 100,000 barrels, which is currently being upgraded to 130,000 barrels, the current rigorous campaigns to re-enter the previously dormant Warri River field, ongoing plans to construct a 10,000 barrel per day capacity mini refinery, and the 60,000 barrel capacity produced water processing plant. ND Western has positioned itself as an industry giant. With a strong industry reputation, ND Western is one of the most reliable backbone suppliers of natural gas to the domestic gas network and the West African sub-region, including to countries like Ghana, Togo, and Benin Republic via the West African gas pipeline. ND Western currently operates and produces from Utorogu, Ughelli East and Ughelli West fields, with proven gas reserves of 3 trillion cubic feet and a combined installed capacity of 60 million scf. We are the largest indigenous gas producers in the Western Niger Delta region. We are a gas producer of choice. We are strategically located on the gas transportation network and hooked up to the Escravos-Lagos pipeline system, ELPS. We currently provide gas to the power, commercial, and LDC sectors. We look forward to opening up business on the Eastern Corridor once the OB3 gas pipeline is hooked up to ELPS. Since setting up the Asset Management Team, AMT, in 2016 with ND Western leadership, the joint venture has drilled 8 new wells, enhanced operational efficiency, and boosted our daily production to 440 million scops and 27,000 barrels per day. OML 34 acquisition includes 2 non-oil and gas assets, Noga Housing Estates, which were originally operated as non-profit assets. With the advent of the AMT in 2016, the assets have been upgraded, commercialized, and converted into a profit-making venture.
The estate was dilapidated and long abandoned by SPDC. Then, because of the plan to commercialize the estate, Noga had to come in with a strategic plan to move the estate to returning profit on all facility. One of the things we actually engaged in was to actually renovate all abandoned and dilapidated buildings, in 2017, and we were able to get in about 10% of occupancy level in 2017. Then in 2018, we had to carry out a aggressive and extensive marketing campaign, kind of awareness, bringing the facilities in the German Ogonu to the public space. We had to submit estate facility proposal to E&P companies, oil and gas servicing companies. We had to go to the NGOs, to individuals who actually would profile to be considered for accommodation leasing. And we had to, book for facility inspection for companies. At the end of 2018, 2019, we had the occupancy rate as to about 50%. The estate became a highly sought after facility for the we can proudly say that the occupancy in Ogun and Ejeba is at 91%.
The peculiarities and challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic charged ND Western, in collaboration with the Independent Petroleum Producers Group, IPPG, to establish a fit-for-purpose laboratory test center situated on the OML 34 Noga asset. Once completed, this facility will provide a testing, identification, isolation, and treatment center.
Our host communities are quite a wonderful set of people, and they've been very, very dependable and supportive in our relationship with them. We have operated without any hindrance or interruptions to our operations. This is something that is very uncommon, right, in the oil industry. Our security is hinged on our relationship with our host communities. Talking about how we reciprocate, we have a very robust GMOU with our host communities. As a company, we have all sorts of programs to be able to support the host communities to better their lives. We have gone beyond trying to identify capacity. What we now do is to build capacity and support this capacity. The key thing is to be able to build members of those communities so that they will also be able to provide support to other companies. So they do not look at ND Western as their only source of employment, only source of contracting. Beyond this, we have some programs. Education and propagating learning is one of the key priorities for ND Western. And as a result, we support our host community with scholarship. Right from secondary school to university level, we are operating 4 cottage hospitals around our host communities. Aside from the general healthcare, they also provide maternity support. During the pandemic, ND Western went to the extent of providing palliatives. We do a lot of health campaign across our host communities, and there are a lot of programs we carry out. All these build a sense of belonging. This suffices to say that we have a very good relationship and your community see the asset as their own.
Once completed, this facility will provide a testing, identification, isolation, and treatment center, social and educational development. The e-library project of the University of Ibadan, Geology Department, Charity Walk for a Limb, OML 34 Joint Venture Undergraduate Scholarships, Vida Nino's Children's Christmas Party, 2019 Nimbe movie, currently showing on Netflix. ND Western is currently a central and strategic domestic gas supplier with access to both domestic and international export gas markets. We aim to expand exports overseas while driving upwards our energy deliverables to the nation and beyond.
The future for ND Western is very bright because the asset base of OML 34 is huge indeed. Most of the fields in the asset have in fact not been developed. In the near future, we are looking to exploit these assets, also expand our manpower and be able to face the huge task ahead. ND Western will become the most integrated indigenous oil and gas producer as well, because we have plans to go into modular refining. Our gas production is going to be is targeted at some 600 million standard cubic feet per day. So talking of integration from back end to back end, you will see that indeed the ND Western experience is unique. One can confidently say that if our plans materialize, ND Western could easily become the biggest indigenous oil and gas producer in Nigeria. The future is looking bright indeed.
ND Western, powering nations.